Sorry. Dude, you could have just slid it down. I know.
It's too many technology.
Too much technology for
Too
it?
many? I say too many?
You said too many. Too
Yeah.
many buttons to push?
Tomato, whatever it is.
It's not a tomato or a tomato.
What is it?
It's just the volume
Just
control.
220, 221?
No. Although, did you ever see Beetlejuice?
Yes.
The original
Oh,
Beetlejuice?
dude, it's going to
Coming
come out,
part
the new
two.
one. I'm excited.
And what's his name from Wednesday is playing her daughter.
Yeah,
So yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Wednesday is going to play.
Yeah, it plays the daughter, which is honestly is perfect because she looks just like her,
that,
even
yes.
though, yeah. So
it's
when
crazy,
Winona
right?
Ryder
I think
yeah.
they like this is the perfect.
Oh yeah, she was
actress
perfect for the role. So
for the,
this is not movie talk, but
now
I mean,
who's Beetlejuice?
Michael Keaton.
Oh, it is
Batman.
Okay,
he's always been Beetlejuice.
Okay.
The 220, 221, Mr. Mom. That's Michael Keaton. Yeah. Sure. This is the fun we have, guys. You just witnessed the fun that we have. Beetlejuice. Yeah, the preview looks really cool. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, car gift. What is happening? How is everybody doing?
How is in Portugal?
It'd be nighttime. It's the future, or it's the past.
No,
it's the future. I don't know. Hi, Dean and Fernando. They're both doing well. Yeah, it's tired. Just happy it's Saturday for sure. Howdy, kids. Hello from Vegas. Everything's fine. Are there any other head units other than Pioneer, Kenwood, Alpine, or JVC that you know of? Also, are you partners with the brand Ground Zero Audio? You might want to check out the Stinger High 10 as well as Sony. You didn't mention either one of those. Those are both fantastic. If you're looking for something on the cheap side, price-wise, you have Boss Elite and you have Nakamichi.
Yeah.
Also, so they're and they have Blaupunkt. Those are all classic brands that are no longer themselves, but there's that to choose from. As we said, Beetlejuice. But yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. How's everybody going? We got a full show packed for you tonight. As far as are we associated with the brand Ground Zero, they were a client of ours. This is a Ground Zero amplifier right here. We've done work for them in the past. We're always in conversations with them there. So anytime that we can work with them.
Good friends.
Yeah. I mean, I just, our guy here, Tommy's talked to him this week for about an hour and a half.
Tommy who?
So yeah, exactly. Tommy who. So no, we're in constant contact with all these guys, and it's just a matter of, if and when we can work
Elias
together.
And every single one.
Any one of our partners that we've ever worked with, we always, hopefully, we've always left on good terms, and it's just a matter of whatever we were doing with them ran its course. So the ad campaign died, or they got out of what they wanted and they felt they were good enough to move on. So we're always looking for new sponsors, new interactions. Today's show, we do have a fun show.
Kelly.
When are you guys going to offer remote tuning? Probably never. That is definitely not any part. So listen, is it something we could probably do? Yeah. But the reality of it is that takes a lot of time. And for us, I like sitting in the car when I'm done to make sure that everything works right and asking questions.
It's not the same.
I have a child, and I know how frustrating it is to ask. I can only imagine it'd probably be the same experience, but to me, they're again not calling you a child or anything. It's just, it would be very frustrating. And I'd probably
say child.
Yeah, I'm just saying that just to dial it down. So many people have talked to a child before and you can't get an answer out of them. So most of the people that would I don't know. But Nick Apicilla at ResinX offers it as a service. He apparently knows the right way to do it. So if you're interested, you can reach out to Nick at resinx.com, I think, or just
and the website.
Look up Nick Apicilla. All right, let me open this over here so it doesn't like splatter crap all over the place.
Yeah. Just check on the website, and then just contact him, see what he does for you.
So it just misses that bitter, that like
yes.
Yeah, it's like a
that kick.
Yeah, it's like a flat ginger ale. That's what it tastes like to me. It tastes like flat ginger ale, like it's been sitting out for hours. Forgot to screw the top on.
Yeah.
What was the question about that yet? Oh, hey, Dean and Fernando.
Hey.
Would you happen to know if there's any aftermarket companies that have head units that support Atmos surround sound, specifically Apple Music, spatial audio? Thanks. No, there are none of those that exist. I can tell you this, Herman, from Herman, who works at Orca.
From Herman.
From Herman to
Yeah.
Herman. When we were at MasterTech Expo, he was tasked with building an Atmos system in his BMW X5?
X3.
X3. He did it, and I believe he used an Apple TV. I don't know.
With external.
Yeah, he had it with it. But anyways, it sounded different.
For sure.
I
mean, I didn't hear it, but you said it was.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
Spatial audio is a very strange thing in a car.
But when you say weird, is it like
just it was weird, but not in like
from a car?
No, just the experience. I mean, it's like when you watch a movie, you expect stuff to be like happening all over the place. When you listen to music, I don't really expect like
going everywhere.
like it's like when you're watching a football game. If you like, my rear speakers are in the ceiling. Every now and then when you're watching a football game, they'll pipe the crowd sound into the rear channels, and it'll just be like, what the hell? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It was a lot of that, because it's like Rocket Man, when he sings I'm a Rocket Man, there's this sound that like launches from the front of the car, and you can just because you have those high elevated speakers turn on, and so you can hear this sound go across the ceiling.
Yeah.
And there's like it's almost like you're sitting inside of a band that is wrapped around
like a studio, basically.
No. Like you know when some bands do the like they have the stadium, it's a circle, and they can run around the center. It'd be like if you were standing in the middle of that and they all turned around and all the speakers were facing you. And so like the guitarist is over there, the drummer might be in the back corner because you're facing the wrong direction.
Right.
There's some backup singers that are like
in the corner,
in the stairs over the, and it's just, it was a lot of, it was neat because it was new, but it was also weird. And I don't know if I would like that, like as a 24/7 thing, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Quadraphonic, definitely not quadraphonic. Actually had a quadraphonic stereo when I was a kid. I get, if you're old enough to remember that, it kind of was the idea, but it's not. It's just weird.
Happy Saturday.
But
Baba.
Either way, because music isn't supposed to, surround you. LOL. I mean, it's not. I mean, envelop you maybe, but not surround you, because there again, we've listened to music pretty conventionally forever now, where the stage is in front of us, the band is playing towards us, and depending on where we're at in the room, I mean, it might be neat to give you like a bar feel, like, you know what I mean? Like if like original DSP, you could do like church, hall, stadium, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it would have echo and reverb and all this other nonsense. But like when you're in a bar or a small area where it's like you have the speakers, the sound up here sounding okay, not great. There's usually some loud chick in the background going, "Yeah, my panties." I guess listen, but there again, that would be good for maybe like one song, and then you'd be like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, but you don't like concerts. You don't like to do that stuff.
No, because I like to hear the sound, and like I don't need to see. So like, don't get me wrong. When we saw Kiss, it was cool, but they put on a show that most people don't put on. But I don't need to see some guy up on stage strumming a guitar, going, "My music sucks live." So here we are, and then the hall just sounds like shit. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, so let me get rid of this.
Speaking of,
yes,
there.
I will be there, Dean. I have 4 classes that I'm teaching at the CMA. That's right, 4 classes I'm teaching in classrooms, and then a bunch on the show floor. If anybody is going to the CMA in Canada, Toronto next week, I'll be there doing all kinds of fun festivities. On Sunday, I'll be doing a DSR1 training. Okay. So we'll be training people how to use a DSR1. I know, Elias. I'm looking forward to it. You and Tommy both. Big hugs all the way around.
Very nice.
Have you heard any vehicles that use a tablet as a source unit? Is it more challenging to make work in a car? Well, yeah, it is, because it's not a car stereo. It's a tablet, and it doesn't have all the features that the car has. I mean, one of the reasons why everyone likes iData to begin with is the fact that it integrates with the car, so you lose the factory backup camera. You know, a tablet as a source in a modern car is stupid. I mean, because you're giving up a lot of the functionality of the car. I think leaving the tablet out, I mean, if all you want to do is watch movies, then great, cool, go for it. But, you know, it's like you're driving. I don't know. I just, you know, a portable DAC or some form of portable media player that plays really good audio seems like a more win to me. But it just depends what you're trying to do.
Depends what you're trying to do, for sure.
You know, if movies are the goal, then yeah, tablet, you know, and screw the backup cameras and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you're interested in doing that, I believe Soundman's website still is the best place to go.
Yep.
For finding information on how to do that. He's continuously been the innovator in that. So I think it's like Soundman CA at CA or Soundman.ca. It's not com, it's CA.
Soundman. You just
in Cali.
go to his Instagram.
But yeah, Soundman would definitely be the guy's website to go to find out anything about that form of integration. He will also, you can send him his your dash, and he will modify it to fit your tablet. And a lot of the times he'll modify it in a way where you can keep the factory rated behind there. So if you want to see the factory backup camera and stuff like that. So definitely reach out to him. Watch some of his videos. He's been doing it for years.
25, yes, not color, but I'm gonna add just shading. Black and gray. Yeah, just black and gray. That's
black and gray.
That's it. Yeah, it's soon.
Well, yeah, not soon.
And then another side.
Slow down, killer. DNF, is it okay to put my LGDs behind the kick panel at my T harness instead of on amp rack? I'm building the amp rack now, and it would work out better without them. They will not be behind carpet. And that's really the answer to your question. They need to breathe. They are going to get hot. They are resistors, which means they are sandstone resistors. So they do acquire some temperature, not a lot, but as long as they're in an area that is safe from, you know, as long as there's like some room around them. I'm not saying like park a car room, you know, maybe like a half inch. They're not like, there's not a wire that's going to sit on top of them. But yeah, you can put them anywhere you want. Like if you're in the kick panel area, you might want to just go up some. A lot of times up higher, like pull the glove box out. There's a ton of room. We've buried them up behind the glove box. There's usually some form of a strut bar up there that goes from left to right. We've attached them to that. But yeah, just put them somewhere where they're not going to be, you know, like don't zip time to a wiring harness. But yes, you can put them wherever you want, for sure. No problems. We're going to be doing DSP talk in a little bit. We have some ARC audio that we're going to look at, the input-output mixer on it that came up in a conversation we had earlier this week. And I was like, that's a great topic, so we'll definitely do that. We have Audio Control, which is our sponsor right now. We got some audio control stuff in this week. Our good friend Jeff dropped a bunch of stuff off, which is awesome. And we have right here in my hands the new tweeter, which looks a lot like the old tweeter.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, isn't it? No. So the old tweeter was this, and it was just this, and you had to do whatever you wanted to do with this. But the new tweeter, oh my gosh. And it's the same actual tweeter. It's just new mounts. So for those of you that are going, oh, I have the old tweeter. It doesn't matter. It sounds the same. But I can pull this top off now. And inside, I have this nice, tiny tweeter. Ooh, look at that.
You can customize.
Which is all set and ready to be customized to go into your cool, small location. So now I can make some cool lasered panels.
And it looks like a factory one.
Yes, it looks, and that's great because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something very small that we can put into those small locations. Like this would probably snap right into pretty much every vehicle on the road. But we have that nice, giant silk soft dome tweeter right there that is a much more manageable enclosure now. So if you're interested in checking out the new PNW line of speakers or picking it yourself up. You can buy the tweeter all by itself.
Nice.
So if you're like, oh man, I got a set of the old ones, I really want the new one because I want to put them here, you can order just the tweeter. You don't have to buy the whole set. But for anything that did come with it, you have the new tweeter. And the case, the one nice thing about this case, this is machined aluminum. It's not plastic. So I mean, it's a pretty hefty mount. You want to screw that back together?
Yeah.
I will say this: if you are going to be taking them apart, put them in a safe place while you're working on them because it is real easy. It is a cloth diaphragm, so if you could do bad things.
Oh, I just screwed up.
That is why it was not pulled apart in the first place because they were worried about people putting their fingers through it.
Come on, people, we're installers. We know what we do.
I don't know what max wattage is, but if you head over to audiocontrol.com,
boom,
you can find out all the cool information you need to know, like things like that on their site. We'll be looking at, we got some of the enclosures in. We have the full set of 6.5s, but we don't want to spend too much time. We have weeks and weeks to play with these things. Yeah. So check them out. I like it just because I saw ridiculousness at a glance.
Yes.
So Dean, what's the most ridiculous system you ever built?
Yours.
No. So there's two that come to mind.
It's so ridiculous that you haven't built it.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's two that come to mind. One of them there's a video on. Classic Dean's classic car stereo installs. There was a Dakota that I did at AVE. That's what the Dean's classic car stereo installs. So there's a video of it. Because we used to do a lot of bigger builds back then. And this had 3 Rockford T215s back when they made them, the silver ones, powered off of a T4001, I guess, which was that giant 4-foot long. And then it had 2 8.4s, so 800.4s. We put like 4 6.5s in the door. There was 4 pairs of 4-inch in the back for rear fill. Full vinyl acrylic before acrylic was cool. So it was all hand cut, hand etched acrylic.
Hand cut?
Yeah, I had to cut it all by hand. Had to do the logos all by hand. So that one that one took a long time to do. It was fun, not really. And then the second one is I did a car for Gary Sheffield. He had a Cadillac Escalade EXT when those were all the rage back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was just a pain because we put a 10-inch monitor in the dash.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Junior? And that Junior was who probably helped Herman build the Atmos system.
Yeah, they did.
So that would be the guy. Anyways, we were talking about that earlier. Anyways, 10-inch monitor in the dash. So at the time, we took a Rosen flip down, pulled the screen out, mounted that in the dash, took the radio guts and all that, moved them down. So radio, air conditioner, all that, moved them down to the center console, where we also put in a cassette player and a CD player because he wanted cassettes because he listened to a lot of, this was back then, he listened to a lot of church music, and you can only get those on cassettes.
Very nice.
And then had an Xbox and a what's the 360? What's the Sony one? Not Sony, the Microsoft. Well, you have Xbox and Xbox and a PlayStation. Sorry, not a gamer. So it had an Xbox and a PlayStation, and then each of the 6 headrests had a 7-inch Kenwood monitor in it. It had a track vision on top. It had, which is the satellite dish, the dish, that does all that crap and you can get cable while you're driving. It had a small Alpine stereo in it. So it had like 4 10s down firing in a box in the back. The guy, Will Castro, got his hands on it and painted the whole, it was tan originally when we got it. He got his hands on it, painted the whole inside baby blue, and then took credit for the install, which I thought was funny. But yeah, that one was pretty stupid. So might have had 7-inch Alpines in it. I think it had 7-inch Alpines. There was another one we did that had the Kenwoods. But anyways, that were both pretty ridiculous. So hi.
Thank you.
Thank you. So any new radios coming out anytime soon? No. I can tell you right now that is a big fat no. Nobody has. 2025 is the year if you want new radios, it's 2025. So I can tell you that right now. 2024 is over. Any updates from no. RVDFL.com, Rich, our guy there. We reached out to him after Knowledge Fest, and they decided that they want to go like a different way as far as how they're going to get the product out there, which hasn't done anything yet. So their deal kind of like fizzled away into nothing. And at that point, I was more interested in it because I thought the product was cool. And anytime we do collab with people that we like Rich and, RVDFL, then we would. But if they're just, then we're, it's like, I don't want to deal with it. We go over center channel tips with DSP tutorials. Not in what you're hoping for. But yes, I can touch on. So if you are going to be doing an upmix system with center channel, no time alignment, because when you're time aligning it, you're aligning it for the driver. However, if you would like to learn more about upmixing and center channel, we did have Andy Waymeyer on the show. It was a special time and a special show that we did midweek. And the two things he talked about was all pass filters and upmixers. If you haven't watched that show, I mean, literally went an hour, half hour on all pass filters and a half hour on upmixers. I would suggest watching that because we covered a ton of stuff on center channel and all those things, and he's the expert. So just go back and watch the Andy Waymeyer from Audio Frog show. I mean, keep watching this one, maybe later tonight, and he will. It's really good. We touch on a lot of those topics. So, does Jeff Smith still do tuning in Atlanta area? If so, what is his shop's name? Jeff Smith still works for Stinger, but he's still the national sales trainer or global sales trainer. I don't know, something like that, or product trainer. Anyways, he's still the trainer for Stinger or Amp Global, formerly Amp Global. He has moved to Atlanta. He does not have a shop per se, but he still will do tuning. If you're in the Atlanta area, you can reach out to him on Facebook or Instagram, and it's Jeff Smith. And his logo says Smith, or it has the I know Jeff Smith is usually his logo. You can reach out to him and set something up.
Yeah. Okay.
What does it say? Zero Tats, all about your comment. I don't know. We missed something there, I'm sure, but
it's a lot of going.
Hey guys,
what's up?
So, what does the sound effects really do? I.e., loudness, stage EQ, bass. They're more, I can't remember. All right, so what John is talking about here is Kenwood radios have this feature called sound effects. And I'm going to try to remember them from memory, but each one of them does something specific. So if you take a look at loudness, so the first one is bass, all right? Bass has step 1 through 3 or 1 through 4, depending on the radio that you have. And what those do is they're a generic version of what an epicenter would do, okay? And so if you're listening to like older music that doesn't have a good bass response, you can do the same thing that an epicenter will, is that you can hit that and it will add some of the harmonics that like an epicenter does to the music. So it's actually a pretty cool function. But just like an epicenter, there's a time and a place to use it. So if you have it on and you are listening to classic rock or something like that, or benta music, and then all of a sudden you're playing some modern stuff, well, the modern stuff is going to be like, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, crap, and you got to go in and turn it off. So use with caution. Loudness is a mathematical EQ equation that is applied to level and EQ. So it's two things happening. Depending on what the level is, it is going to adjust the EQ. it is also referred to as dynamic EQ. So it changes with the level. So loudness is designed to add more impact to the music, both in the high frequency range and the low frequency range. These two scientists figured out way back when. They mapped our ear, okay? And our ear hears things not level. So at lower volumes, we have a hard time hearing bass and we have a hard time hearing treble, okay? So loudness adds those in. Now on a Kenwood radio, it has loudness 1 and loudness 2. What that is doing is, when does it roll off? So at loudness 1, it rolls off at its normal pace. So as you turn the volume up, as it gets louder, it's going to do this and flatten off. Loudness 2 is higher on the volume before it starts to roll off. So if you're a low volume listener or a medium volume listener, that's what 1 and 2 is for. After that, you have drive EQ. Drive EQ is designed to listen to the noise that's generated in the cabin and try to make it less. Doesn't work, so leave it off. Always leave it off. Below that is, what is it? Space, I think is space enhancer. So there's space. There's two that are very similar. Space and what's the other one? Height? Yeah, so one is height and one is space. One of them doesn't work on FM, which I believe is space, okay? Because it just can't do it because of the way FM works and what it's doing, it has to shut it off because it's not there. The one on the left side is the easiest way to think about it, is a mid-range boost. And that makes your cabin feel bigger because it's increasing volume in the mid-range areas. The height or elevation is a treble boost because most of the time the trebles, the tweeters are up in the top of the dash or up high in the sail panels or up high in the door. So it's a boost to that area, which when you increase the treble sound makes the elevation seem higher. So that's what those two are doing. Then if you have the first thing, Kenwood has the top on the right is like Supreme or some, I don't know what it's called. That's always on. That's just Kenwood salt and pepper. There's one more, Realizer. And Realizer is meant for crappy recorded music. So like if you listen to Pandora, you probably turn on Realizer because Pandora sounds like crap. And it's there again, it's there to fill in like the old MP3 style stuff. It's really a holdover from that to where it's spreading out the music and trying to fill in the gaps that allowed us to record in MP3. Yeah. Okay. So everyone got that? Yeah. So that's it. So that's what it is. Fun. So, and the thing is if you've done time alignment, a lot of the times, like the two cabin ones really don't mean much. Like they can just make it sound bad. But it's got a button, so I want to push it. Right? Are you good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. When you put a bass knob in a, oh wait, hold on. When you put a bass knob in a coaxial, oh Jesus, I don't know why I saw a knob. Okay. When you put a bass blocker in a coaxial speaker, does it affect also the cutoff of the tweeter, i.e. mean it already has a cap? Does the two capacitors cut off overlap? Sorry for bad English. So the easy answer to your question is no, because the capacitor is designed to block frequencies. Okay. It's a stopper. Sorry. So the cap on the tweeter is designed to block off frequencies that are different than the cap on the mid-range. All right. So, when you build a big passive crossover network, there's lots of caps and coils and resistors inside of them. Each one of them, depending on the value, is designed to work at different frequencies. The sound that comes in, so if you think of it as, to wrap your head around it, let's think of it as a pipe.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Think of it as a pipe, and that pipe is passing water through it, okay? That's your sound. So as water comes through, the first capacitor, which is for the mid-range, is going to shrink the size of the pipe, okay? So now everything from that point up is still there, which would be the tweeter frequencies and everything else. Okay. Yeah. So it's like stepping up. All right. So now the mid-range is getting all those frequencies. And then it comes to the second point, which is the tweeter capacitor. It's going to shrink the tube even further. Okay. So they're not going to affect each other as far as the frequencies that they block because.
Thank you for the 5, man.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. But
all right,
I know it's always trying to translate things like this into words that like mean things. Yeah. Hey guys, so what does the? Oh, we already answered that. That was like the 20-minute conversation we had.
Dude,
all right. So before we go any further, go ahead and remove the screen. We're gonna do something real quick here. This is a fast DSP conversation we're gonna have because I want to get back to question and answer. But Arc Audio's DSP quick tips. All right, yeah, let's have some fun, shall we? Where are we plugged into? So we're plugged into camera 4 right here. We'll turn this on. All right. So today's conversation is going to be about input-output mixer, which is the most important thing in a DSP because this is what tells the sound where it's coming in and where it's going out. So, for example, this is the input mixer. This is what confuses the crap out of a lot of people. Everyone has a hard time doing this and making it make sense, and some do it better than others. This is a very common looking thing. However, it can be very challenging as far as like trying to figure out what's going on. So over here on the left side, you have your input channels. And then across the top, you have your mixer channels. What this is used for is it could be something very simple. So for example, if you're hooked up to something that just has a front output, a single set of wires, then it's very easy. You get what you have. You have input 1 coming in, going to mixer channel 1. You have input 2 coming into mixer channel 2 and going out. So that's a very simple thing. However, let's say you have a 2-channel, meaning there is a set for a tweeter and a mid-range and a set for a mid-bass. Well, then I may need to do something like this, where I add in those 2 channels into mixer channel 1. So if I'm integrating into something that I need to add together to sum those 2 channels, it's going to be done in this. Now, this can get to be very confusing. This is also where you're going to do your level controls, so you can turn things up and down here. So if you want things to be louder or quieter to match levels. However, one cool thing about one of the many cool things about Arc Audio is they actually have a much easier way to do this. How you do that is you go up here to Tools, click on it, and you say Mixer Assist. Mixer Assist launches this page here. Now, this page here divides things into easy to see the whole thing happening at once. It's very reminiscent of, let's say, a JL, if you've ever done JL.
I thought that was like a battleship.
That could be Battleship. You saw my Battleship. Now, one of the cool things is if you look over here on the input mixer side, you have a couple of things to choose from. So, for example, you have 2 in and 8 out. You have 6 in and 8 out, or you have 8 in and 8 out.
No, so you selecting those things, and they do the inputs?
They automatically populate the inputs.
Okay.
So if you have 8 wires coming in, regardless of what they are, you can direct them here into this input mixer. If you're going to do 2-channel summing, it'll automatically set it up. It does a cool little light thing.
What is blinking?
What?
What is blinking?
It's just doing its thinking, and they made it animated, so it's really cool.
Okay.
So, and if you're going to do 3-way summed, there again, you can have it do this. It'll automatically do 3-way summed. So this will bring in that information. And then on the output side, you have the same thing. So if you have 2, so if we'll go to something simple. We'll say 2 in, 8 out. We'll say now we want to use those 2 in and we want to do 12 out. So you can grab on that. And what that's doing is that is taking all of the channels and setting them up for that. So if you have 4 in and 12 out, it's going to take care of these things. Now, what you want to think of is, let's follow the path here. So input 1, let's say input 1 is front left. Follow the line up, and whatever you need to power front left on your output channel. So for example, front left is going to be, if you're doing a 3-way set, front left is going to be tweeter, mid-range, and mid-bass. So that's telling me that channels 1, channels 3, and channels 5 need to be hooked up to channel 1 input mixer. So if I come here across, let's turn all off. And so there again, if I follow this line down to pink, output 1 is the first one. So I can come up here and I will click this. So that is channel 1, skip 1, which is 2, 3, skip 1 again, and that is 5. Because that is the left side. Left sides are odds. Left side, driver's side is odd. Passenger side is even. So then I can come in here and I can do the same thing. Oh, turned one off. And now what this is doing is if I follow the pink lines down, output 1 is driver, output 2 is passenger, and so on and so forth. So I've directed those things in. Now, the other thing we were talking about earlier is upmixing. So if I enable upmixer, so now my upmix channels are over here. So if I want to do center, I'm going to follow the line and I will, add in my upmix, and then I can decide what channel is my center. So if I have channel 8, so I can come over here, I can follow the line up. 8 is, so you just do this, you follow it, and now that channel is an upmix center. Pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this makes it a little bit easier for you to figure out where channels have to go, as opposed to just like hanging out in this page. Now, this page, once you get the input mixer and output mixer all set up, and there again, output mixer is located over here. So it's 2 pages. So the one page gives you both things at the same time. But the nice thing about this is the only thing you'd have to go back in here for if you didn't use the input gain wizard, which it has, which is that guy right there. You can come in here and adjust your levels.
All right, so we have 2 ways to get to input mixer and output mixer.
Yes.
This is 2 pages, and the other one is
one.
the 2-in-1.
Correct. So if I just go to tools and I go to so Brian likes this one because he can see at a glance
what is input and output right away,
where everything is going.
Sure.
And so at first when he showed me this, I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I looked at it, I go, oh no, this makes total sense, because now I can see at a glance what I have coming in, and what I need to feed those output channels.
That would be cool. As soon as you select input and go into the output, you output on the outside. That would be cool if they turn the same color. As soon as you select it, now you can see it's no pink. It's like white.
Well,
and
yeah,
then
but
it's
so
gray,
if you look at input right here is white.
Yeah.
Output over here is also white.
Yeah.
So they do match.
No, I get it. But what happened if you
mean you want it to just show an indicator where it's populated?
Unselect the green dots, on the number 1.
All off.
See, it's still white.
All off. No, I know that, but there again.
I guess as soon as you start getting familiar with
you have
software now, you
But the idea
follow
of
the lines.
These ideas of these little classes is to help you guys understand that if looking at this becomes very confusing, because you're over here going, this box goes, to this corner, this box goes to that corner, and then I'm going to sum these things in, and it's like, if you hit tools, and now you have Mixer Assistant,
right?
And you can take a look at this at a glance. So I can now say input 1 and 2 are going to go off to input 1 and 2. Input 1 and 2 are going to go off to outputs 3 and 4. Inputs 1 and 2 are going to go off to outputs 5 and 6. So now I have all these set up and ready to go. And then if I need to, I can add in others to it.
Yeah.
So just at a quick glance, this makes it neat. And there again, everyone does their input-output mixing a little different. But Arc Audio is one of the few companies that gives you 2 ways to get to the same road and make life easier. So this has been DSP Talk. Brought to you by the fine folks at Arc Audio. You can find these on the Blackbird as well as PSM Pro, the PS Pro, anything that has a DSP in it from Arc that's current has this software. So, and for those of you that like to keep up to date on your software, they did also just launch an update to the software. So when you open it up, it'll automatically, which is fantastic, ask you if you'd like to update to the new software.
Yeah.
That is the problem with a lot of these manufacturers that update the software. Just when you get comfortable and learn the software, they go and change it.
There you go, man. Come on.
40 minutes in, next sponsor. I'm working on it. Well, our guy is off today. Hey, This portion is brought to you by the fine folks at Moscone-America.com. If you're looking for an amazing amplifier, check out the new 1 Series lineup of 10-channel DSP amplifiers. You have your choice of 2, where you have the 6 to 10 or the 8 to 10. That's right. You have the first number is the amount of channels of power. The second number is the amount of channels of DSP. So behind you is the 6 to 10. That means it has 6 channels of power with 10 channels of DSP. That means there's 4 more DSP channels coming out of it to hook up to whatever you would like.
It's a 6-channel, really?
Yeah, 6 channel. Yep. The 8 channel has 8 channels.
No, I thought that was the 8 channel.
No, that's the 6 channel because that came out first. Because they always had the 6 channel. The 8 channel. So the main difference between the old 1 Series and the new 1 Series is
There's 2 channels.
No. So the old one was an 8 to 8. Okay. So if you bought the 8 channel DSP, there was no output. There was an output, but you couldn't use. You had to. It was your input mixer had to change in order for you to get that subwoofer output. So it was very different. The new one doesn't have that problem because they added 10 channels of DSP to it. So it fixed that issue.
There you go.
But yeah. Hello.
Good afternoon.
If you guys were to do a DSR1 for a 2018-19 GM with Bose, what would be...
14-18, yeah.
Oh, 14-18.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a little bit.
I know.
It's fine.
What would be your... Because immediately I was going, I would never do that. What would be your plan of attack? Any pointers? Anything to look out for? Yeah, that's the wrong piece. I wouldn't do that. On that particular vehicle, depending on which Bose system it has, it's a 7-channel system. The DSR1 only has 4 channels of input, so you don't have enough channels to actually integrate into it. Wouldn't even work. However, there is a solution. Unfortunately, iData has not completed their GM interfacing, but PAC has. So what we would typically do with this particular piece in that particular car, which we've done before, is we would put an Amp Pro in first, and then the Amp Pro would go into our DSR1, and then everything would be fantastic. So that's how we would approach that system. I would go buy an Amp Pro and use the DSR1 strictly as a line level DSP, which it'll do. The one thing you'll run into is do not hook the DSR1 up to the remote turn on from the Amp Pro. Hook the DSR1 up to accessory and hook the amplifiers up to the remote turn on. That way you have a staggered turn on and you don't get a pop. So hope that answers that question. You need another $400 to spend. How do you deal with RCA cables that are too long for the DSP to amplifier run? That is fantastic. Yes, like we run into that all the time. Obviously, what we're going to try to do is get the right size to begin with. However, one of the really nice things about designing a system with RCA is, we'll take this for example, because this is a good prop to talk about this. So let me hide this current comment. When you're dealing with RCAs, like these are obviously cut to the right length. But coming out of the, so you can take up a couple inches just by here. Like these should be nice and loose. So you want to make sure sometimes go a little farther past them. Okay, so you can take up a couple inches right here in this area just by stretching out how these attach. The other thing is figuring out how long you actually need your RCAs to be by coming out to the further portions of the amp rack, making bigger turns and stuff like that. Now, if all of that doesn't work, like you still have one RCA that's like 6 inches too long. The secret is if you're using something like ABS or PVC or whatever it is, while you're in the line, so right here you have this cool line of RCAs. Drill a hole behind where you're running your RCAs, drill a small hole that the RCA will fit through. Run the extra RCA out of the back of the board in a big loop, okay, and you're done. And then that extra gets pulled behind the unit, and no one ever sees the hole because you've put it at a place. Like sometimes I'll put it at a turn. I just did that on one of the amp racks. Which one was it? I don't remember. But I drilled. Oh, it was. I don't remember. Anyways, I drilled a hole here. And, I know what it was. It was actually so it was on the 8-10 version of the Moscone that we just did in the Tundra. If you look here on the back side of this, so here's the RCAs for this particular amplifier, and so what we had to do is we had to. This is a 6-8, not a 6-10. Yeah. So what we had to do was have these RCAs attach cables to them. Well, I didn't want them on the front of the amp rack because that would look like crap. So when we were coming out of the amplifier with the power plug, when it got to the corner here, I drilled a hole, ran the RCAs out of the back of the board, and continued on with the speaker wiring. So you didn't miss a beat. Like you didn't know it was never supposed to be there. And I made the RCA connection on the back of the amp rack, just like these are, but you wouldn't see it. And then I ran it in parallel with the front wires. So the zip ties all tied up the same cable. You just had the RCAs on the back of the amp rack and the speaker wires on the front of the amp rack. So there are some creative things you can do to hide the longer RCAs. Now, if you're trying to hard like a 17 or a 12 or a 6-footer when you only need a 3-footer, yeah, that sucks. You can do the same thing too, like with the Toslink cable. The fiber optic cable. If you get a really long one and you don't want to have that thing all bundled up, what's up, man? Is you can put the loop behind the amp rack because they're typically really skinny cables. You just need to make sure you have a nice big loop. Don't you don't want to break it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how we do it.
Okay. Yes, and that's true. It's pollen, man. It's just the allergies.
It sucks.
Like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I don't know. I was bad.
Well, you haven't bought the good stuff yet, though. You didn't go buy the D. D works, bro. D is the best.
That's what I need. I need the D.
Totally need the D. What is the best integration solution for non-BO 2023 F-150s? Something with a DSP and lots of load resistors. Right now, there isn't anything spectacular. I mean, we've obviously done them. It's no big deal. We just use a DSP to deal with it. That one, there's a mixed amount of nonsense on whether that just needs the LGD20s, which is the green, or if it needs the same as the Broncos. Some people will say it has. All the testing we've done it hasn't. But if you want to be safe, 2 LGDs or the new Metra purple LGDs, load resistors.
They are out?
I think they're out. They're out. Which are the 10 ohm is what you're looking for. So 2 20s or one set of 10s, which is the same for the Bronco. You might be able to just use the Helix high level to low level adapter in it as well, because they have a line output converter. And there again, it's just to get things going. After that, something with a DSP is your best bet, if you really want to maximize the sound.
What's up, Marty?
How come people don't suggest or consider ultra capacitor batteries? Like, I've never heard of that one. Probably just because they're not mainstream, and right now everyone's just so hip to the lithium game. I think that's really got to be what it is. I mean, why do most people do anything? Because it's like, this is what everybody's doing. All the cool kids are.
Or it's because, like, we have more efficient amplifiers, like.
Well, I just don't think a lot. Like, for example, the bat.
Well, you're going like crazy,
Well, the bat cap has existed for years, and it never took off.
Okay.
It wasn't what people were looking for. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like right now everyone's just hip to the lithium battery stuff. So
yeah, even the cars now are using it.
Because we all know, just because something is better doesn't mean that's what we use, right?
What?
We just go with the flow. If everyone's doing this, well, that's what I gotta do.
Oh man,
I know it's stupid, but that's just the world we're in. What's up, Axe Man?
What's up, man?
Need some Voss water, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still have mine.
Dean F, what are your thoughts on the Alpine HDS 990 media controller? Any ideas what DAC they use? I know Status F1 7909 is called out, but not the 909. So I know Jeff has put a couple of these things in.
Which ones?
The 909. That's that media player that all the guys in, like, that's the one that, like, maybe they'll sell 10 of them in the US. That's the one that all the Indonesian guys put and everything. The problem. Okay, listen. The problem is this: everyone's music is right here, okay, and everyone is content with right here. So very rarely do you get a guy that actually has the money that is like, I want the best. I've gone to HD Tracks and downloaded my whole library. I've spent thousands of dollars on content that I want to sound. Those guys we typically don't see. This is what they want. They want this to sound good. So as far as this goes, yeah, it's badass. But if you don't have like anything else, if you don't have the media to play on it,
I think it's a full
useless.
circle. If you don't have the whole thing, it's not gonna function.
Well, I mean, if you want your music to sound bad, keep playing those CDs. Just saying,
CDs nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lithium may burn your car down. I didn't say it was great. I just that's the new hotness. Oh yeah, dude, lithium batteries? Yeah.
Nah, man.
Yeah, no, they're perfectly safe.
It's
Perfectly
just
safe.
Speculation.
Reduce RCA length magic. Totally, right? Well, not everyone wants to spend the money to DIY their own RCA.
I see some people they just like.
Dirty underwear.
There you go. It's you.
Will I push too much power to my tweeters if I have a Kappa 3-way set and run off one channel of my JP 234 amp? I'm using a passive crossover. I don't understand how the power is just distributed.
Distribute.
First things first, regardless of what you're doing there, you said one channel of my JP 234. The thing you have to keep in mind is sound that we listen to in a car is called stereo. That means it has two channels, a left channel and a right channel. If you just hook up your tweeters to one of those channels, guess what you're not going to have? A stereo image. And you're not going to have a mono image either. You're just going to have one channel. So you're either going to have the right or the left playing your tweeter. That means if the vocalist is off to one side or the track was created to sound better, which you normally are in stereo, you won't get it. Bikes like to do this. I don't know why, but it'll basically sound crappy. And some songs will sound like really bad. Now, as far as passive crossovers are typically where your limiter is, meaning they're there to protect the tweeter from blowing. They are the traffic cop that says none of that stuff can come through. They also do that for power, meaning they can handle a certain amount of power. Anything past that just doesn't happen. So it's not that you can't blow your tweeter. You totally can, because the one thing it can't stop is, DC, which your speakers don't like. Obviously, you can't stop distortion, which your speakers don't like. So the answer to the question is hook it up the way the factory intended to be hooked up. You need a right channel, you need a left channel. One tweeter goes here, one tweeter goes there. If you're going to be using the passive crossovers, you pass them through the crossovers. And that's the best way to hook them up. I don't know of any other way to do it that makes any sense. But that's not to say you can't do it the other way. But what is the easiest way to add a sub to 2022 Ford F-150 with BO and hurdles to jump over like ANC? All right. So, Chris, if it's a 3.2 liter Eco Boost, you got to shut off the ANC. If it's the small motor or the V8, probably won't have ANC. You can test for that with an RTA. We have a cool video showing you how to do it. The problem is that the bass is split between the fake subwoofer in the back and the mid bass in the door. So what you end up having to use to actually get some decent bass is the mid bass in the door. The problem is it will not sync up perfect with the system that's going on. So you can do it and it will work. And if they're super picky, they're going to hate it and they're going to become a pain in the ass. Most people just want more bass and are content with whatever they're playing. They're like, I want more bass. So it's more bass. But you want to tap off of the driver's front door speakers. You can pick one right or the left. It's the same. But that's it as far as the ANC goes. So What are good starting crossover points for an active set of three-way Flax Evos? Oh, wait. What are good? Oh, okay. Running them through a Tweak 88. Just installed them. Okay, so actually, Focal is super easy. 5,000 link widths, 24 dB on the tweeter. 350 to 5,000 link widths, 24 dB, top and bottom, both link widths on the mid-range. The mid-bass is going to be 80 hertz. We'll come back to that. With a top of 350 link widths, 24 dB. Now, depending on how well you sound treated the door, you can do a Butterworth 12 dB at 80 hertz for the bottom of the mid-range. You'll get a little bit more fullness out of it. That's what I meant, the mid-bass. Sorry, out of the mid-bass. Yeah. You can get a little bit more fullness out of it. It's a little more impactful depending on where your subwoofer is at and how many subs you have. If you hear the door start to rattle and fart and the speaker go, ow, stop doing that, then turn the crossover back to a link width 24 on that and let the subwoofer do its job. Subwoofer, there again, we're going to cross that over at 80 hertz, Butterworth 12 dB, because I want my bass to have some fun. But that's it. That's. You good? You got your 2 minutes of fame? Feel better now? Okay.
Yeah. So
that's it. Do you like Dayton's audio speakers? They're quite interesting. They are quite interesting. All of the fun I've ever had with Dayton audio speakers has always been pleasant. Like I've never not had fun with them.
Even you just love that you buy the DSP.
I hate the DSP. It's crap. But the speakers are fun. Yes, you're right. They are interesting, and you can have a lot of fun with them, especially their micro woofers that they have, like a 5 and a 4-inch little woofer. They actually pound. We bought a couple of those years ago, and we had a lot of fun with them. So, no, go for it.
There you go.
The kid is cute. Whoa, watch it, Lance. Got to be careful, man. It's like Quiet on the Set all over again. Awesome, by the way. JL 404. Wow, look at the time. Holy crap. 501. Sundown indoors. W3s or TW3 seat upper.
Under the seat.
Yeah.
Sound down 2 3/4 dash hertz tweeters. Will the 404 be okay? Guess my main question right now. It's a 404.
Okay, so it's 4 channels of audio.
Yes.
Okay, so things have changed a lot, right? The reality is that we're really concentrating on the front of the car. That's what I call the front stage upgrade. For me, if you give me a 4-channel amp and you have 4 speakers in the front of the car, I want to try to power those 4 speakers. The reason why is because we put a 2.5 or 3.5 or a tweeter in the dash. We put a mid bass of some kind in the door, and we just expect them to perform hopefully the best that they can with the passive crossovers we have. Now, some passive crossovers give you the ability to attenuate the tweeter, which is cool. You know, that's a 0 + 3 - 3 or 2, whatever, which is nice because that's what it's there for. It's to turn the tweeter down or turn the tweeter up to align itself with the output of the mid-range. Something like this isn't going to have that because the 2.5 doesn't have any attenuation. It just has a cap, okay, which is great because it's not. But so now what happens is those things are super loud in the dash, and we can't hear any mid-bass from the door because they're not as efficient as the thing in the dash. So you end up with this meh sound. So what we like to do is take the 2 channels and put them on this, so I have level control, and I can now gain match performance of the 2 drivers. So I can turn these down, I can turn these up, and I can get a more enjoyable system. Now, what powers the rear? 6-channel amp would be great. At that point, depends on the radio that you have. So we will power them off the radio. We like to use Kenwoods in this situation because we have level control for the Kenwoods that we can turn the input voltage down going to the factory amplifier so that they match in power band as you're turning the volume up. The preamp and the power run in tandem with one another, which is really nice. Now, you could try to do that with fader fade it more to the front and less to the rear, it'll give you a similar effect. But yeah,
All right, time out.
Right.
So it's a 404, right? It's
Yeah.
a 4-channel.
Yes.
Now we have 6.5 sound down speakers with the 3 and 2 3/4 in the dash and Hertz tweeters. So we're using a passive crossover from where? From the sound down? Because everything is a passive crossover. You cannot use.
Well, no, it says 2 and 3 sundown 2 3/4 dash
Hertz tweeters. You cannot use a Hertz tweeter if you're using a sound down crossover, because we don't know what kind of crossover.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
at that point, you should go better and buy a sound down tweeter,
or just get the Hertz crossover.
Yeah, because
or go active, get more channels.
Yeah.
The reality is what you really need is more channels.
Correct. Because
Getting more
that
channels.
4-channel is not going to help you.
No.
So it's 1 hour.
I know, that was crazy.
It's crazy. And I got to go.
We told you we would hint to what the car stereo. Oh, hang on, not yet.
Whoa.
We had it. We told you what we in the Instagram show. We told you we are going to hint about what the lab is going to be now that Fernando's G35 is no longer with us. We are going to be leaving the show now, as we often do, because it's been an hour to go pick up his new car. So he has purchased a Volkswagen.
It's a Volkswagen Taos.
So we have an SUV that is going to become. So we'll have 2 SUVs. So we will have that coming shortly, which we'll be getting to put. We got to map it out. We got to figure out what we're going to do. But the new lab will be a Volkswagen.
Woo!
And right off the bat, we're excited because iData actually makes a kit for it. So we'll be able to put a new radio in it without any difficulty. So
yeah,
fantastic. So that is what the new lab will be. And we'll work on that slowly but surely throughout the rest of the year and get it up to speed so that we can get back to testing a bunch of stuff.
Let's go put my 430 back.
It'll be nice, though, because we have a ton of enclosures that we have to test. So it'll be great to have some other way to do that. So
let's go. No, I'm in debt. Hold my line.
I was going to say.
Hold my line. That's it.
I told this car to give him a check.
I'm going to sell my kid just to keep my car.
That's sad.
I know.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We'll be back on Monday to answer more of your questions. So we can't wait.
Thank you, guys.
Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy
Happy
your Easter
Easter
if that's your thing. I know I will be. See ya.